Hi all, welcome to Mrs. Donovan's dining room table math lesson for the day. So we're going to talk about two-step inequalities. I posted work for you all just on two-step equations for Monday and Tuesday. So now we're going to apply that to inequalities. So something I gave you for your homework looked something like this, where I might have given you 3s plus 7 is equal to 43. As we know, we have to undo order of operations, which means we have to get the s by itself. So we want to get rid of the lonely number first. So we're going to subtract 7 from each side. This cancels, leaving us with a 3s, and then that would equal 36. From here, in order to undo multiplication, we need to use division, and we're going to divide each side, so s would in fact equal 12. And it always works is if you plug this number in, this should work exactly. So 3 times 12 is 36, plus 7 is 43. So the beauty of the two-step equations is you always can check your work. What we're going to be focusing on today is instead of it being an equal sign, we're going to be dealing with an inequality. So it would be along the lines of the same type of equation. If I gave you something that looked like this, 5s minus 2 is less than or equal to 13. First thing we would do is we have to get rid of the lonely friend, get them to the other side. So we have to add a 2 to each side, and we're going to do is less than or equal to 15. Then in order to get rid of a times by 5, we need to divide each side by 5. So we know that s will be less than or equal to 3. And we can always plug that number back in to make sure it makes our equation true. So 3 times 5 is 15 minus 2 would be 13. 13 is less than or equal to 13. But as you know, when we go to solve inequalities using division and multiplication with a negative number, we have to flip the inequality. So let's take a look at one where we do have to flip the inequality. So, and we'll then write down our steps of what we're supposed to do. Minus 2b plus b is less than negative 5. Okay, so our first step always is you need to combine like terms on each side of the inequality. Oddly enough, this is not really a step. The steps are in turn, the two steps are something that you have to do to each side of the equation. So the first thing we're doing is going to combine like terms. I'm going to go over here to my problem, and we can see that we can combine like terms because we have negative 2b plus b right here. So we're going to combine them. We've got negative 8. Well, 1 plus negative 2 would be plus negative b is less than negative 5. So from here, we need to get rid of the numbers that are by themselves. So we're going to add 8 to each side. We're going to add 8 to this side. So at this point, we've got negative b is less than or equal to 3. But as you know, we cannot have negatives. Remember, this is like having a 1 in front of it. So it's like having a negative 1b. In order to get rid of the negative 1b, we'd have to divide each side by that. But that in turn would flip the inequality. So b is greater than negative 3. So if we put this back into our equation, it should make this true. So if we have negative 8 plus this would then be the opposite of b, plus 3, that means it would be less than negative 5. That is why we have to flip it to compensate for the negative signs. So let's try another one. So then our second step before we go on, so our first step is to combine like terms, which was right here, which is what we did there. Our second step was to basically what's called isolate the variable. You're going to get rid of the lonely friend. And that is where you're going to subtract or add first the number that's by itself. Then the third step, you are going to multiply or divide by the number attached to the variable. So remember, we're undoing multiplication and division, but remember we have this little star here, this asterisk. If negative flip the inequality. And we learned that when we were multiplying and dividing inequalities. So if it was a less than, it becomes a greater than. So now that we have the steps out, and I do anticipate that you are writing some of this down in your notes,